Season 3, Episode 3, Chapter 19 of The Mandalorian, titled The Convert, is 58 minutes long and the longest so far of this season. Now, I do want to say that Mandalorian is not really prominent in this episode. He kind of takes a back seat, and we only see him in the beginning and at the end of this episode. Now, at the beginning of this episode, we start off where Episode 2 left off, with Din and Bo-Katan at the living waters in the Mandalore mines. And now that Din Djarin kind of bathed in the living waters, he is now redeemed, and they go off and they go back to where Bo-Katan is with her castle. Now, while they're on their way back, they are kind of met by TIE fighters that attack them, and in a 10-minute sequence, it is a space fight, and it's absolutely epic. The action is great. It's in your face. It's really, really fun. The place where Bo-Katan is staying at is bombed, and then she wants revenge and everything. She goes after them, but then they go into hyperspeed and they leave. Then the episode shifts back to Dr. Penn Pershing, who is, you may know, is the one who kind of put a bounty out on Grogu back in a few seasons, and he is a doctor and a clone engineer affiliated with remnant of the Galactic Republic and kind of worked for Moff Gideon. He is now living at the Amnesty, and after all that's happened and everything, there is a recap at the beginning of this episode, and we find that he wants to still continue his research of cloning. The story and aspect of cloning is really, really prominent in this episode, and I mean that drastically. He befriends someone who he kind of remembers that was on Moff Gideon's ship. Her name is Alaya King, goes by a codename, I believe is G68 if I'm not mistaken, and she kind of persuades him to go to the Imperial shipping yard where the Imperial spaceship is. They're all decommissioned, and you can see it. It's all dark and everything. They go in there to get, kind of equipment for a lab. Backfires because she evidently is working for someone else. And we kind of see that in the beginning of the aspect of the episode where Pershing is talking to kind of a group in an auditorium setting, or a council for that matter, and all that's happening, and then he gets into a mind flare where they kind of erase his mind, but G68 kind of turns it up and something else happens. That was basically the middle episode and the middle story of this episode, which was good and interesting. You didn't know what was happening. It was kind of repetitive in a way, but at the ending, the Mandalorian and Bo-Katan go to a secret location where other Mandalores are, and they meet with the armorer, and nobody believes that he bathed in the living waters. Well, he goes to the armorer, gives a sample of the waters. She says this is the truth. He's telling the truth, and he is redeemed, and he is Mandalore once again. And they turn to Bo-Katan, and Bo-Katan also is redeemed because she saved him in the living waters, and she hasn't taken her helmet off since, and so once again she's redeemed, and she becomes Mandalorian once again. All the while, she kind of, in the beginning of the episode, Bo-Katan's like, you didn't see anything else, like the mythosaur that was there, but Din doesn't say anything. The episode's 58 minutes long, 45 minutes of Dr. Penn Pershing, and about 15 minutes of Din and Bo-Katan, and that's it. It's simple, and then that's the end of the episode. Nothing much happens, but it's the story and aspect of where is this going and what's going to happen, and how does it have future ramifications in certain episodes, especially for how this season is going. The episode was directed by Lee Isaac Chung, who directed Minari, and for being in The Convert, like, what's going to happen? And there's one Mandalore who isn't really keen on seeing Din there with Bo-Katan, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens, and then how everything moves forward. Jon Favreau, once again, along with Noah Clore, wrote this episode, and I'm really interested to see what's going to happen next in the 4th episode, which is directed by Carl Weathers and written by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. So the aspect is there. episode 3 now, and then episode 8 is the season finale. Like, oh, holy shnikes, like, what's going to happen? And will we see more of what's, like Moff Gideon? He was mentioned, hasn't been seen. There's been stories now after what happened to him. And then what's going to, with the whole Mandalore and Grogu, the Mythosaur, like, will that be mentioned again? And what other characters will we see in this season? A lot of questions still need to be answered, and I can't wait. Like I said, the episode was good and it moved the story along, but I was really surprised to see it really focused on Dr. Pershing, and it was really good. Take that back a little bit, focus on characters like Din, and see where it goes with what he wants to do. But now that he's redeemed, what's going to happen? Let me know in the comment section below what you thought about Season 3, Episode 3, Chapter 19 of The Mandalorian, titled The Convert. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? What did you think about the story and the aspect of how everything was focused on Dr. Pershing? Do you think that's going to change anything? What do you think that's about? If you know what that's about, let me know in the comment section below, and how it has future ramifications in the Star Wars universe. If you know what I'm talking about, then you don't have to answer that question. And what do you think is going to happen now to Din and Bo-Katan, and now that they're redeemed and they're Mandalorian once again? So let me know in the comment section below about all the questions I just asked. I'll see you all in the next review video, and be sure you tune in next week for my Season 3, Episode 4, Chapter 20 review of The Mandalorian.